Hi, I'm Rick Surprise with All-Fill Labeling, and today we're going to go over how to set up a reflective style product sensor. Now on a labeler, think of the product sensor as the gas pedal on your car. This starts the process. This sees the product, tells the label to feed off of the peel plate. Now, it works in conjunction with the label sensor. The label sensor, each time a label is fed, will see the gap in between the labels and trigger the labeler to stop. This particular sensor is a reflective type, meaning there is a reflector. It's hard to see from this shot, but if you were to look straight across, right in the middle of the reflector, which is placed across from it, this is setting out a red beam, and when you set it up, you want to make sure that the reflector is directly across from it and the beam is in the center of the reflector. When it's set up, you will have two indicator lights, a green light and a yellow light. Setting it up and training it for its different configurations are done with these two trim pots or adjustments on top. Usually what you'll need to do is just line up the product sensor with the reflector. With power on, you want to make sure the red beam is in the center of the reflector. Everything is on adjustable brackets, so by loosening the handle you can move it, or by loosening the bolts you can move it up or down. Now, in order to teach the sensor, you're really not teaching it to see the product, you're teaching it to see the reflector. And then every time something breaks the path in between the product sensor and reflector, it's going to feed a label. So how you teach it to see the reflector is by using the trim pot with the yellow indicator. You just put a small screwdriver in there, you turn it all the way to the right, or in this case clockwise. You'll see it blink, and then you turn it back to the left. Now, it takes, depending on the distance from the reflector and the ambient light, it'll take 2 to 5 seconds for this to learn that reflector. Once again, you simply turn it all the way to the right, count 2 to 5 seconds, but you'll see it flash, that means it's learned it, and then you turn it back to the left. Now, this green light here, you don't need to adjust it, but in case you want to or you accidentally touch it, what it does is it decides whether the sensor sends out its signal when it sees the leading edge of the product or the trailing edge of the product. That is called light on and dark on. So you think about it, if right now there is a light shining to that reflector, the light is on, which means when it sees the leading edge of the product, it'll feed a label, which is how it's set up now. If we turned it to its other position, it would then trigger so that it would see the trailing edge of product. But once again, that's what the green light does. You really shouldn't mess with that. If ever you have to adjust it, it just should be the sensitivity of this sensor, which once again, you just put the screwdriver in it, turn it all the way to the right, or in this case clockwise. When the light flashes, which will take 2 to 5 seconds, it's learned the reflector. You turn it back, you're now ready to run. Now, if ever you're having a troubleshooting issue where you're not sure if the reflector is causing the issue or not, or where the product sensor rather is causing the issue or not, the easiest thing to do is to simply unscrew and disconnect the product sensor. When you disconnect it, all lights will go out, but power is still on the labeler. With power on the labeler, you'll be able to use the jog or test buttons in the control panel to test fire the labeler. If the labeler works correctly from the test or jog buttons, but it's not working from the product sensor, then you know you have an issue with the product sensor. You can plug it back in and continue your testing. Hopefully this will help you. Once again, I'm Rick with All-Fill Labeling. Thank you.